tuned into SEC Sunday Night, part of the Chief Sports Network.
Welcome to SEC Sunday Night Live on the Chief Sports Network, brought to you by Hewitt Domaduras Law, HD Law, SC.com. And it is time to kick off another week here with our friend Dailey Joy on the SEC Pretty Campus Tour. First of all, Joy, tell us how you're doing. It's week 2. We got an interesting slate this week. Tell us what's going on and where you're at.
Yeah, I'm great. We're 1-0. I'm 1-0, so I'm feeling really good this week. And I am in Columbia for the border war. So excited to watch Mizzou and Kansas. I always feel like if you're gonna give a school a chance to really impress you, you need to do it in a game that matters. And so I'm excited to see what Missouri brings to the SEC this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was a good weekend for you to go out to Como because I don't know that I would say there's a lot of good weekends to go to Como, but given the slate and given the matchup with Kansas, I think it's an actual and actually it should be a good game. And obviously by the time this airs, we'll know what the result is. But can you just talk a little bit about, from your perspective, being there and being in a very Missouri-centric location with we'll tell everybody that you're with Maggie. We had Maggie on a few weeks ago, and we loved the conversation with her. What's the buzz in Missouri to say, we're ready for this season, we're ready for this game? Does it feel like there's a heightened sense for you?
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think everyone's really happy that this rivalry is back. I was talking to Maggie about it last night. She was like, it's just such an underrated rivalry because it's not built on pettiness. It's not built on disdain. It's literally like a Civil War rivalry is why this thing exists. It's gone back and forth between the two of them, but these schools really, really hate each other. And she said, you're going to see like the most heightened version of a Mizzou fan base that you've probably seen in quite some time, because we haven't had a rivalry that we hate like we hate Kansas since we've joined the SEC. So I'm excited. I think Mizzou fans are thrilled about this matchup coming back. I think we're happy with their performance last week, and they're excited to see that success continue into this weekend.
As the face of SEC Pretty, you're obviously an SEC girl, and I didn't prep you for this question, but what are your thoughts on Kansas joining the SEC at some point? There's been some speculation about different schools and how these conferences should expand. We know that Greg Sankey loves to be in contiguous states, and he loves flagship universities. And when you look at Kansas from a basketball standpoint, you're bringing a lot of tradition and a true blue blood to the fold. Is there a world where you would welcome Kansas into the SEC? Do you see any positives there, or is it kind of just a big stay away from our league?
Yeah, no, the answer is no. And it's not just no, it's a hard no for a couple reasons. But the biggest one is that you hired Les Miles. And anyone that's hired Les Miles post him being at LSU, you automatically are disqualified from joining our conference ever again. And let's just call it what it is. Kansas doesn't have enough money for Greg Sankey to really be that interested.
There you go. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so who has the most pressure in terms of the teams that are out there? That we have an interesting slate of games, right? And if we look at the ones that are really going to be at the forefront, obviously you're there at the Kansas and Missouri game. So there's something to watch there. The big game of the weekend is Oklahoma and Michigan, and so obviously we're watching that. John Mateer looked great in week 1. You also have South Florida and Florida. And I think that when you look at how Alex Golish had the Bulls ready to go last week, Napier and the Gators just have to go out and play their A game. You don't want to be caught slipping. In this one, Ole Miss and Kentucky, you got a kind of a rematch of a game where Kentucky played spoiler last year. And so when you look across the league, there's a handful of matchups. And then you got some teams that are obviously playing cupcakes this week to kind of tune things up that maybe didn't play cupcakes in week 1. So is there a team that you're looking at that has a ton of pressure, maybe teams that lost in week 1 or somebody that just has a big matchup this week?
Yeah, I mean, I think the obvious answer is Oklahoma, right? Like they do have the most pressure, I think, of anybody in the conference that has to play this weekend. You're hosting a Michigan team. Is Brent Venables finally going to get the defense that we know he is capable of creating on the Oklahoma football field? Obviously, there's also been a lot of talk about John Mateer. It's really easy to do what John Mateer did when you're playing Sissy State. You're actually going to finally play like a decent opponent, and so I'm excited to see if John Mateer is really what Oklahoma fans are saying he is, or if this was a fluke because of who they were playing. And so I think they probably have the most pressure from a standpoint of like proving who you are early on in the season. You also named the other one that I think is like the sneak, and that is the Florida South Florida game. Florida is like perfectly set up for a trap game. You have to go to LSU next week. Everyone's already kind of talking about that game. There's already rumblings. And South Florida looked like they were ready for a dogfight last weekend. And so I think Florida could be in a very sneaky position. This is a moment, if we really want to talk about pressure, that Billy Napier is under. I think that this is kind of his moment to prove that he is the guy that can have his team ready for absolutely anything.
Yeah, we'll see kind of if we end up on I was wrong on Sunday night after some of these statements, but I'll just go out here and say that I picked Michigan to win this game against Oklahoma, and I'm not really high on what Oklahoma's doing all season. They're going to, again, last week is impressive, I guess, but you're going to have to really show it to me over the course of the season before I start believing. I do think that Venables has the defense, and the offense is going to be better than it was last year. And that was more of the defensive struggle last year, I think, was just they couldn't get off the field. They couldn't stay off the field because the offense would just turn it over or go 3 and out. So we'll see what kind of unfolds there. And there's been so much talk about this Florida-South Florida game. I think that Billy Napier has them ready to go, and I don't think this one's really that close. I think there's been so much buildup of trap game that internally those guys are going to be focused and ready to go out and play. And, I think that the Gators get it done in a big way. So, the pressure for me, I think there's a lot of pressure. Here's the one that I'll sneak in here, okay, really quickly. They play ULM, but coming off of the loss last week, man, what does Alabama look like? Do they still look sluggish? Do they still look sloppy? They can't improve anything in anybody's mind this week if they come out and win 70-0.
Right.
But they can continue to slide if they come out and win 30-17. And so you got to watch out and see what is the energy level. How does Kalen DeBoer have those guys ready to go? I'll be really interested to see what that looks like.
Yeah, agreed totally. I think Alabama has pressure because of their fan base. I think obviously there's like different kinds of pressure.
Sure.
I think Oklahoma probably has pressure from the media. Brent Venables is feeling pressure because of his job. I think there's obviously the question of like if he doesn't win this year, like does he remain the head coach at Oklahoma? Billy Napier has the same kind of pressure because people have questioned his ability to win at Florida. I think Alabama has pressure. I don't think Kalen DeBoer is getting fired if he doesn't win this year. His buyout is just massive. But I do think that there's pressure from that fan base because their expectations are to not just compete, but win national championships year in and year out. And obviously this doesn't look like a team that's capable of doing that.
No doubt. There's a lot of players across the league that are just big time players to watch. We can get involved in people's like personal stories and have reasons to root for them, even if they're not on the team that we personally pull for. Obviously, in week 1, you had big performances from Garrett Nussmeier and from Lenora Sellers, both of whom I believe should have had an extra touchdown in that column. But we'll say those two guys are kind of leading the way, I think, right now in terms of playmakers to watch. But just across the league, is there somebody that you're really keeping your eye on to see what type of performance they're going to give us in week 2?
Yeah, there's 2. And I would say one is a particular section and then one is a player. I want to see what Austin Simmons is capable of against an SEC defense. I don't think Kentucky is like the cream of the crop defensively in any way, shape, or form, but that is going to be a significantly better defense than they saw last week. And we might finally get a chance to really see what Ole Miss is capable of with Austin Simmons at the helm. On the flip side of that, I want to see some improvement on South Carolina's offensive line. I think that there was a lot of conversations about that. Lenora Sellers is him and will continue to be him. There's never been a doubt about that. He's been in Heisman conversations all offseason. But I want to make sure that South Carolina's offensive line is equipped to give him the best chance to succeed. It looked like they were struggling pretty well against a Virginia Tech defensive line that I don't think is that talented. Again, you're going to have a lesser opponent this week in SC State, but that is a chance of improvement. That's a chance to go out there and really get some reps in that are needed. And I want to see if they have some improvement coming off of their game last week against Virginia Tech.
Yeah, no doubt. I agree with you. I think Austin Simmons goes out and has a big day. I think that he's accountable for – I'm going to make a bold statement and say that he accounts for 4 touchdowns, 3 through the air and 1 on the ground, and gets it done against Kentucky. I have no faith in the Bluegrass, and we'll see if I'm wrong about that
Same.
one. South Carolina, on the other hand, I agree with you that there's definitely some struggles and things need to be cleaned up. Freshman Shed Surratt comes back at the guard spot this week, and so I'll be interested to see how he had kind of asserted himself in fall camp and was kind of a surprise to push for a starting spot as a true freshman. But I'll be interested to see if he gets those reps and what he looks like and how that gels with the group. You can have 4 offensive linemen that are really good, and on any given play, if one guy whiffs, then the whole group looks bad. So interested to see how that goes. All right, Joy, enjoy the game, and we'll see if our thoughts are correct or if they're wrong. Final pick. Are you going with MIZ or Rock Chalk this weekend?
Yeah, I got to go MIZ always.
All right. Well, I'll go against you, and we'll just see what happens.
Perfect.
Make sure that you guys, if you have not already, I know Joy sold a ton of hats last week, and so we want to make sure that you're continuing to do that. There's going to be all of, 20, 30 people in the stadium in Missouri. So I hope that you sell at least to 75% of the people that are out there.
Not necessary, Rob.
No, it'll be a great time. I think that you'll be able to continue to walk in and do immediate promo by wearing the hat. But also for everybody who's watching, our audience is continuing to grow, and we have a ton of you, and we appreciate you being here. So make sure that you go not only follow SEC Pretty on socials, but also go get your hat. Come on now. What are you doing? All right. This has been SEC Sunday Night opening segment, SEC Pretty Campus Tour with Dailey Joy. And we'll be right back in just a minute for Craig and I to break things down on SEC Sunday Night Live on the Chief Sports Network.
At TriFit Physical Therapy and Performance, we believe true health and peak performance start with personalized care. Whether you're an athlete recovering from injury or just chasing your next personal best, we're here to guide your journey. With expert coaching, hands-on therapy, and transparent cash-based pricing, you get the care you need without the insurance red tape. One client drove 100 miles just to see us and said it was worth every mile. Contact us at trifitperformance.com or 803-353-5619. TriFit Physical Therapy and Performance, where recovery meets results.
When playing sports, you want a coach that will fight for you. At Hewitt Diamaduros Law Firm, we've got your back. Whether it's personal injury, insurance disputes, negligence, or wrongful death, our team delivers exceptional legal services that makes meaningful difference in the lives of the individuals and families we work for. Visit hdlawsc.com. hdlawsc.com. Hewitt Diamaduros, we're on your team.
All right, welcome to SEC Sunday Night here live on the Chief Sports Network, brought to you
Look at that hat.
Hewitt Diamaduros Law. I'm going to get to it in just a second. Remember that Hewitt Diamaduros is on your team, hdlawsc.com, for personal injury, for dog bites, for falls, for anything that you need them for. Not only are you going to get a good representation in court, you're going to get an incredible experience relationally as well. Brad and Dean are going to get to know you. They're going to hear your story. They're going to fight for what is best for you. Remember, Hewitt Diamaduros is on your team, hdlawsc.com. Yes, so while we're in the segment just now, Craig, and Joy is talking, my hat was delivered. It was delivered. And
like
so,
hand delivered? Did Joy got the notification, handed it to you?
Hand delivered. Yeah, absolutely. So right there, as we were
yet, Joy.
looking back, Joy, we're still waiting on that one to make it all the way to Michigan. But yeah, as soon as just incredible timing, right? While we're looking back to what Joy and I had to say on Friday, the hat comes in. So make sure that it looks great, guys. Make sure that you go and get your hat, wear it to your stadium, and let everybody know that this is the standard of tailgating and watching football.
So that's the
2025 in
standard
the
of SEC football, unlike your hot takes with Joy.
Yeah, and Joy's in the chat box. Joy's in the chat box, and she says that she nailed the timing. So yeah, you did, Joy. Well done. Well done. Thanks for the delivery.
Yeah. How did your Florida pick go? Was that good?
Dude, there is so much to unpack about what Joy and I had to say on Friday. I was wrong on multiple things.
Alabama scored 73, not 37.
Okay, and I didn't say that they were going to score 37. I just said that we needed to see something from them. So they gave us exactly.
You did say 37 though. You did say 37 points though. You did.
Well, my expectation for Alabama was just, are they going to?
Hang on, Joy's got a question for you.
Are they going to impress us, or are they not going to? That was really the thing for me. Yeah, Joy, we're talking about the Florida pick. I understand. If you guys can't see it, professional trash talker, Dailey Joy over here, letting us know.
See, okay. And she's the one. She's always worried about me poking. Look at her. She's going right after. Keep going, Joy.
Go. I'm okay. Listen, Joy. I've got producing things to do. I can't be jumping back over. I'm just kidding. If you're in our chat box, please continue to comment and let us know your thoughts. All right, seriously, Craig. Here's the deal. Here's what we need to talk about. We got some issues going on, obviously, in Gainesville. We can throw this up. I don't know if you guys how well you can read this incredibly lengthy statement.
I got it ready.
Yep, go ahead.
Gator Nation, I wanted to let you know that Billy Napier will continue as the head football coach of the Florida Gators. As we've seen this past weekend, the team and the staff did not show a Gator standard, but as like in the past, the resolve, effort, and execution are evident in their performance and growth each week, building a foundation that promises greater success next season and beyond. UF's commitment to excellence and a championship caliber program is unwavering. Okay, I'm going to stop right there. Okay, this obviously statement was brought to you by ChatGPT. Strickland is going to need his own vote of confidence. What this tells me, when you have to come out there like this and then you have to say that there was a standard of excellence, sorry, Billy, there wasn't. And I know, Rob, you're going to preach patience till the end of time and that Billy needs more and more time. But this is the same stuff. Andy Staples had a fantastic article yesterday talking about it, about Billy Napier. And to give you the Cliff Notes version, because I highly recommend you go and read it, is it's the same story with the Florida Gators under Billy Napier. It is just not working. We're going to talk about Oklahoma in just a minute. BV made some big changes, and we've seen results. There is no reason why Florida should lose to USF, yet here we are again, and now they got to go to LSU. They've got Texas coming up. They've got Miami and the mighty Carson Beck. I've just got one question for you, Rob. Will Billy get a cocktail, or will he be in the jorts in the parking lot?
No, I think he's going to get a cocktail. I think that the statement kind of makes it clear that what they plan on doing. I don't think they're going to cut him loose.
I think they're both gone then.
But I do think that there's got to be a fall guy before then, and I think that this is a recruiting move for obvious reasons. Right? We're not going to. When you see that the season is going the way it is, you remember what happened last year? Everybody decommitted, and then they made the statement that they're keeping Billy Napier, and everybody seemed to jump back into the ship. And so Scott Strickland is getting ahead of it this year.
Who's the fall guy? The offensive coordinator? Oh, wait, that's Billy Napier.
I don't know I don't know. I can't tell you who the fall guy is going to be. I'm just letting you know that there's going to have to be somebody before the end of the year because the Gators are out for blood at this point. All right,
he doesn't have anybody else.
Let me cut you. I'm sorry to cut you off. We'll continue to talk about Florida later on in the show, but we do have Chad and Tierney here with us. Let's go ahead and bring in Chad and Tierney. The Sooner Smiths are with us today. Let me go ahead and move us around just a little bit here. Not that. We got to get you guys featured. All right, perfect. With the voice on college football in Oklahoma, big game for the Sooners yesterday, and we had a lot of things to say leading up to that game, Craig. And so I'm excited to welcome them in here on the TriFit Performance guest line. Remember, TriFitPerformance.com if you have a physical therapy need or if you have an injury, and there's no insurance red tape. So if you go in for your knee, you want to talk about nutrition or your shoulder, Mitch is going to get you hooked up. All right, Chad, Tierney, how's it going? What's a big win? Are we feeling good in Norman?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Feels fantastic.
I slept like a baby last night. So
Yeah.
it was fantastic.
Is that probably the signature win for Brent Venables? Is that something I think you've been waiting for?
Yeah, obviously beating Texas 2 years ago is always going to be hard to top, especially for an Oklahoma fan. But I think in terms of the expectation he had going into 2025 after what he suffered through last season and what we as fans did, absolutely. And we don't know how good Michigan is yet. I mean, they might not end up being a good team. We don't know. But I think they will. They're going to be close to 10 wins, especially with the schedule they have remaining. And to be able to beat a team that I think is going to, by the end of the year, especially be much improved. Underwood's going to get a lot more reps by the time they're playing Ohio State and other teams. It was definitely a game that OU needed to win, and I think Brent Venables answered a big call by getting the victory for sure.
I'm right there with you because I'm going to be honest. I've been critical of BV. Like we've gone through a lot of coordinators, but let's be honest. There's an Oklahoma and there's a Sooner standard that we have come to expect out of Norman, and to be fair, he hasn't met that standard. So I think that was a great opportunity, and I'm really looking forward to kind of seeing like what Mateer has and what the defense has going forward the rest of the season, because it's making me rethink about what Oklahoma and success looks like in 2025.
Yeah, I would just ask the question of, when you look at this game specifically, obviously, like you said, we're early in the year. We don't know what Michigan is really going to look like long term. What do you learn just from a Sooner standpoint? What were your biggest takeaways about this team and who they are in 2025?
So I want to say it is the biggest takeaway, but not necessarily. So we expected our defense to be really, really good, and this was going to be a big challenge for them. So the Sooners caught a lot of heck from people online about the run game versus Illinois State, and to try to say that it wasn't the normal defense. Like, we knew like the amount of rotations that they were doing, and we know how Brent likes to operate things. So for us, this was going to be a really big challenge for them to step up. Michigan being so run heavy, having someone like a Justice Haynes who's just explosive, and having a big front line. It was going to be a big challenge for them, and they 100% stepped up and did their job. With the exception of one play last night, which was the very first play of the third quarter, we would have held them to 71 yards the entire game running.
Yeah,
which is pretty fantastic.
Yeah, and there's Oklahoma fans, and I don't know why. Maybe because people are afraid to go out on say things they believe. Oklahoma is, if they're not the best defense in the country, they're certainly the best defensive line in the SEC. I was telling Michigan fans yesterday, Ohio State isn't as good as Oklahoma on defense. They're just not. Oklahoma has 8 of their returning starters back. They have the best defensive line in the SEC, certainly, but they run 3 deep at every position. What is most encouraging for Oklahoma fans is that when you saw David Stone get in, who didn't start, when you saw a Taylor Wine get in, who didn't start, when you saw Marcus Strong get in, number 9, big 99, who doesn't really get a lot, there was no difference in what you saw in terms of the level of play on the defensive line. It is the first time, and I don't know how long as an Oklahoma fan, I would take Oklahoma's defense over any in the country, and I would not think 1 second about it. And I said that going into the year. I didn't need to see this season play out as it did. I had no doubt we were going to beat Michigan. I had no doubt we were better than Michigan on both sides of the ball. I have no doubt that we should beat Texas. We should beat every team we play. Now, in the SEC, obviously, you have to work with attrition. But Oklahoma has the best defense, in my opinion, that you could – at least I'll just say it, that I would take in terms of what they have.
And I think that was one thing where Rob and I agreed. Where we were maybe we were critical. There was questions at the quarterback position last year, but the defense. The problem with the defense last year, they were just on the field too much. They were put in a lot of bad spots. There was turnovers, too many 3-and-outs, put them in there. But the way they basically lived in Michigan's backfield, and like you said, Sharon Moore. I live in Detroit, so I get all the Sharon Moore, everything that we have. He prides himself on that run offense, and I'll give you credit from the Oklahoma defensive line to that whole front 7. Their run fits, everything. They were living in the backfield. I was a little nervous at the start of the third quarter. I'm like, oh no, what's going to happen? As we go through, but to see them respond, drive after drive, and I think they even lost. Overall they lost the turnover margin, but to me, I think that becomes the most impressive.
Right. And we were getting texts from Indiana fans, Michigan fans, Arkansas fans, like every single one being like, y'all's defense is insane. And so, it's not just us being biased, so to say. And trust us, we've had plenty of terrible defenses. We're not afraid to admit we have a terrible defense. And so, the fact that it was like just so known that other people were watching this game and taking note of how great the defense was just nice for once.
If I can just add just one thing to that, she was saying this is a difference, I think, from last year to this year, especially with BV. So after Michigan scored in that 11-second run that he had, by the way, Justice Hayes is extremely fast, but OU's offense went on the field where they went 3 and out and only got 2 yards. The next 2 drives, Michigan had 6 plays for a total of -7 yards. Then we fumbled the punt. They on our own 31. They have 8 yards on 4 plays and have a field goal. So in that, you had 14 total plays for a net of 1 yard and 3 points. Like, they answer the call time after time after time.
It is 8:24 here on SEC Sunday Night Live on the Chief Sports Network, and we have the Sooner Smiths with us. Chad Tierney, talk to me a little bit about John Mateer, because obviously he's been a featured talking point of this team throughout the offseason, kind of in the Heisman discussion leading into the season. He comes out last week and has a strong showing, but, the critics are still there to say, well, who is this against? And it's a good warm-up game, but now you're going to get an opportunity to go against another Power 4 opponent. As you get ready for an SEC slate that is always unforgiving, and this year will be no different, how confident are you in the guy that's going to be running this offense and really has the weight of everything on his shoulders moving forward in John Mateer?
I honestly feel very confident in him, and I think that stems from his confidence in himself and Ben Arbuckle's confidence in him as well. Again, we had last year with, again, it's no disrespect to Jackson Arnold. He was also dealt a really terrible hand, but you saw the insecurities, if you will. You saw the, second guessing himself and all of that. You don't really see that with Mateer. You see decisiveness, you see the leadership, you see the confidence. And even when he does his press conferences, he just radiates that confidence. And we believe that the criticism were fair. Yeah, who did he play? I mean, yes, he was still playing D1 athletes at Washington State. You're still playing people like Texas Tech. Those are D1 athletes now, not to level of the SEC. So we understand that. But to me, he's lived up to what I was wanting in a quarterback. Now if I'm going to criticize him, I think he needs to put a little air under some passes. Maybe sometimes he's just a little trying to throw through people. But at the end of the day, like, I looked at Chad even when he threw the interception. I'm like, he was still decisive. It wasn't what we've seen last year when it was let me think about it, and then I'm throwing it, too late or something like that. It was a decisiveness. It, was there. You just miss, and that's going to happen. I can respect an error when you're being aggressive.
Yeah.
It's just when you're being scared that I don't. But I have all the confidence in the world in him. So if he stays healthy and our offense hopefully stays healthy, and if they can just really, really gel and get everything on the same page, because it also seems like some of our receivers don't quite know when they're supposed to keep going or, stop, which also would be an issue because John knows the system very well, and he's going to go where you're supposed to go, not necessarily where you're going. And so I think, again, the sky's the limit for the offense and John Mateer.
Yeah, no, I agree. John, to me, is like, when I look at quarterbacks, especially for teams that are looking at national championship or at conference championship aspirations, do you have a quarterback that's an elevator? Like, for me right now, there's a lot of teams that have good quarterbacks, but they're not teams that can elevate you to win games maybe that you aren't performing on the other side, or even as a team to win. John is, and I almost think there is this Jekyll and Hyde with players like that, like a Manziel who could elevate teams. Baker was that way. I know there's a lot of comparisons with him. There's a risk that they play with, but it's a backyard gunslinger, aggressive style of play that I think you have to have if you're going to win big time games in environments that are going to be extremely hostile and against extremely good teams. Now, I don't think he can win every single game running 20 times. I don't love that, but what I love about it is in his post-game press conference, they asked him what he thought of it, and he goes, I mean, it's what we had to do to win. So I don't know. It's what we had to do to win, I guess. I don't really know what more to say, but they're going to have to figure out a consistent run game to help him. But yeah, he has surpassed expectations, at least early on for me. I don't know if you saw the stat, but he has 628 yards of total passing through 2 games, and that's the most since Josh Heupel in 1999. So I mean, he's doing things that are not done, and OU, not known for not having good quarterbacks. They have pretty good quarterback play. So yeah, extremely excited for what he's done so far through 2 games.
Well, and I think if you look at the rushing game, there's help there. I think Brent did a really good job picking up in the spring portal. He got Jaden Ott from Cal. I mean, he crushed it the last 2 years at Cal. Yet, you look at the stat sheet last night, 4 carries for 9 yards, and you're like, if there's an opportunity to grow and expand to make John even more lethal, maybe give those receivers maybe a little bit more time to kind of open up and kind of figure out what they're doing, it should be Jaden Ott. So to me, it makes a lot of sense.
He had a little bit of wear and tear in the fall camp, so he hadn't practiced much. I think he's just getting his feet under him. You're totally right. I said last night on our post game, he has to become a staple of our offense if we're going to go to the next level because he's too talented. He just is. You know, he's done too well in college already and proven it. Another name I think your listeners just keep an eye out for, and ear out for, Giovanni Gibson, Arkansas Pine Bluff transfer. He was really the guy in spring and fall camp. Everyone was saying this dude is going to be, drafted high. He might be our best receiver. Has an ankle injury in spring practice. He was doing backflips into the end zone after he scored. That didn't cause the injury. I'm just saying, like, that's how athletic the dude is. He's like 6'2", like 220, looks like Julio Jones and runs unbelievably well. He'll be back probably in the Auburn game, so that'll add some more weight, some more help too. And just transferring just back to the defense real quick. The defense is still out 2 starters, Eli Bowen and Kendall Dolby. So they're going to get 2 guys back that are, in theory, on paper at least, going to be a huge boost for our defense. So I don't know. I just wanted to add that because I mentioned the Giovanni guy. But
halfway through the show here, we're finishing up with the Sooner Smiths. Chad Tierney here with us, a voice on college football, coming to us live from Oklahoma. What's the temperature shift after a game like this? Because I feel like you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but although there's high expectations coming into this year, it's a little tension filled, right? Because you didn't really know exactly are Arbuckle and Mateer going to produce. Venables has definitely kind of been in hot water, and so you're looking at this as kind of a make it or break it year. Can you guys feel amongst the fan base a noticeable shift in the past, 12 hours?
I would like to say I wish I had. And honestly, for me, even I would like to say I wish I had. I'm still, because I know the gauntlet of a schedule that we have coming up. It's like, yeah, this is a great win, but can we continue it? Venables isn't going to keep his job just because he beat Michigan. Mm-hmm. Now, I will say I feel more hopeful. I'm like, heck yeah, like our defense is exactly what I thought it was going to be. John Mateer and the offense have shown me a lot that is very positive and makes me excited, but I still need to see it against Auburn. I need to see it on the road at Tennessee and Alabama. I need to see it when LSU comes to town. And I know I'm forgetting a lot of people in between. Obviously, I need to see it in the Red River, but I do feel like maybe there's a little more hope, a little more positivity and excitement for the year versus maybe last year around this time when we were barely beating Houston, being like, wait a minute. Mm-hmm. So that's how I feel personally. Cautious, but like hopeful, if you will.
I think the fan base has been, those who thought BV was the right guy or would be the guy are more strong in that position today, and they're really going at it right now. And I think those that are skeptical or thought he should be fired or just want to be right on that take are still saying, well, we'll see how the offense, we'll see what we do whenever we play this team or that team. For me, it's, did you answer the call that you had? Did you answer the test you had? And he had his players ready. Every position that was out there was that, especially on the defensive side of the ball, where a lot of people had questions if he could do the head coach and defensive coordinator role. He answered the bell, and all you can do is just consistently do that each week. Mm-hmm. So for me, I was a believer when we hired him. I said 2025 is the year I'll be critical. You have to let him get recruits in and get a culture established. And I think right now he's finally able to do that, and we're seeing the fruits of that kind of come to fruition.
Right. So. And something he said last night in his press conference really stuck out to me. He said that we have a lot of players right now who are hungry, that have that want in them. And I do feel like over the past years, that hasn't always been the case, not necessarily because of Brent Venables and his culture, but what he's been trying to build. There's been some few key players that seem to have that want. And now it seems like he was saying, this team has that. And that's one thing that I take heart in, knowing that hopefully this is a team that doesn't have those kind of lull type games after a big win, that you come out every single game ready to go. So,
yeah, if I could just take a note to any of our listeners or viewers who are coming over from Rooster Rant here on the Chief Sports Network, who are breaking down what happened with South Carolina last night, Tierney, that would be one you left out, that I'm sure there will be somebody will pop into the chat box in a minute and let us know that you did not mention South Carolina on the Oklahoma schedule, and Lenore Sellers will be looking to test the defense, I'm sure, when that opportunity comes about. I do think, I mean, overall, I'm impressed. We do a segment here that we kind of sprinkle in over the course of the show every week called I Was Wrong.
Rob was very good at it for this week, so stick around. You'll hear all kinds of good stuff.
Made some statements about Florida. We're going to get there, but there is we want to call it out and be honest when we make our mistakes here. We're not just going to stand on the fact that, hey, we called it. And there are a couple of those moments as well. But when we mess up, we want to say, hey, we got this wrong. Kudos to those teams. And I specifically, I won't speak for Craig, but was very skeptical of what John Mateer was going to be able to do. And we still have a full SEC slate for him to make it through. But so far, so good. Very impressed. And I will tentatively say I was wrong. Cole Kublik put the video out this morning. I quote tweeted it, where he's kind of rolling out to the side and just drops the dime down the sideline.
Yeah.
And it's just an incredible ball. And so if he can continue to be that successful, I do agree with you, Chad, that 19 or 20 rushes a game is not going to, that's not a formula to have your quarterback make it through the season. Like there's going to be some hit that gets lowered if you run the ball that many times.
He says that as a Lenore Stellers guy too. So he says that as a big.
Hey, Lenore Stellers is cold, but I mean, they just can't. Running backs carrying it 20 times a game will get hurt in the SEC. They're just too big, man. Like he took some hits last night where I'm like, look, I love that you play the quarterback position with aggression, but man, like I don't like hearing that from the stands.
Yeah, you love it and you hate it at the same time. All right,
I got one last. I got one last.
Yeah, you slip it in there.
Yeah, so I will say that Jackson Arnold will not enjoy his return trip to Norman. Of course, you guys will not be on the golf course, so brother Hugh will probably be in trouble as well. But you do have to look out. My boy Arch may be heating up, so I think Red River should be at least a lot of fun. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. I don't know. We'll see if that arm can actually come maybe up above his head as opposed to like out here somewhere. So
I think he's projected number 1 now after San Jose State. That was a great,
that was great,
awesome.
wasn't it? It was so good. It was
after the first quarter when they were still asleep.
Yeah.
All right,
Rob, I do want to say real fast though, I love your hat.
Thank you.
I also have one.
Hey.
Oh, look at that, Joy.
Yes.
Look at that. If Joy,
Yeah.
if you're still watching, look, we have multiple SEC Pretty Hats here on the show at once. We do a segment to open the show every week with Joy. So she was live in Missouri this week, and we continue to make sure everybody knows there's a 15% discount right now on SEC Pretty Hats. So you can see a couple of them right here on the screen. But if you want yours in your team's colors, then make sure you go get one with code Mizzou because of the big win in the border war. We'll be back in just a minute to talk about that. Thanks again to Chad and Tierney for being with us, breaking down what Oklahoma did against Big Blue. And we will be right back with SEC Sunday Night Live on the Chief Sports Network.
When playing sports, you want a coach that will fight for you. At Hewitt Diamaduros Law Firm, we've got your back. Whether it's personal injury, insurance disputes, negligence, or wrongful death, our team delivers exceptional legal services that makes meaningful difference in the lives of the individuals and families we work for. Visit hdlawsc.com. hdlawsc.com. Hewitt Diamaduros, we're on your team.
Oh man, the building is on fire.
Emergencies and accidents happen. When you're in the middle of a fire or water event, all you want is for things to return to normal as soon as possible. Resto Pros of the Midlands is with you, guiding you through the process and working with you to get your home or office back in working order. They'll answer your questions, discuss procedures, and can act as your advocate when it comes to processing your insurance claim. Resto Pros Midlands SC.com. Open 24/7 when you need them. Quality that is guaranteed.
At TriFit Physical Therapy and Performance, we believe true health and peak performance start with personalized care. Whether you're an athlete recovering from injury or just chasing your next personal best, we're here to guide your journey. With expert coaching, hands-on therapy, and transparent cash-based pricing, you get the care you need without the insurance red tape. One client drove 100 miles just to see us and said it was worth every mile. Contact us at trifitperformance.com or 803-353-5619. TriFit Physical Therapy and Performance, where recovery meets results.
Yo, what's up?
Baby, let's go.
This is SEC Sunday night on the Chief Sports Network.
the Chief Sports Network. Brought to you by Hewitt Damaduros Law, HDLawSC.com. Thanks again to Chad and Tierney, the Sooner Smiths, with Voice on College Football, coming on and talking about Oklahoma on the TriFit Performance guest line. That is TriFitPerformance.com. And I'll say one more thank you to Dailey Joy, not just for her segment and not just for her hat, but for her wonderful corrections, because that's why we pay her the big bucks. This letter from Scott Strickland, which circulated Twitter earlier, and I picked up straight from old Blue Eyes himself, Brett McMurphy, is from last year. And so let's just make a correction so we don't look like total fools, that because I trusted a colleague, is that what we call McMurphy? I don't know, that we trusted other people, that this is the old letter. So shout out to Joy for making sure that we don't look like complete idiots before we get off the air. And now it's time, Craig.
Like idiots.
Yeah, now it's time to make our rounds. Okay, we got to go all the way around.
Yep.
So I'm going to make my way through the whole thing.
Okay.
And we'll just react here for a couple minutes, and then we're going to pull Casey in to help us close this thing out. Okay. Remember, you guys, if you're in the chat box, make sure that you're commenting. We're about to make our way through a lot of different schools and games. Let's start with Texas and San Jose State. You just referenced it. Your boy Arch kind of gets it going. Throws 4 touchdowns. He's got a pick, almost 300 yards here. CJ Baxter kind of gets it going. Parker Livingstone is the man. This is my biggest takeaway from the first 2 weeks with Texas, is that this guy is legit, and he's the one that Arch is going to be looking at. 4 receptions, 128 yards, 2 touchdowns, 38-7, Texas over San Jose State.
Wake me up when they play something worthwhile.
Yeah, I kind of agree.
But Houston next week, forget it.
Like Alabama, they could have hurt themselves, and they almost did. They started really slow.
Yep.
They can't really make us feel much better, but they can make us feel worse. Okay, in similar fashion.
I will say Arch looks hurt.
He looks hurt? Is that what you think?
He looks hurt. Yeah, he looks hurt.
Yep.
Like the arm angle just does not look comfortable.
The Battle of the Aggies, keeping in the state of Texas, A&M 44, Utah State 22. Marcel Reed goes for 220 and 3 touchdowns in this one. Le'Veon Moss kind of gets going a little bit, 6.8 per carry, and a touchdown. Mario Craver, part of this A&M revamped wide receiver core, 5 catches for 114 yards and a touchdown. My thing about A&M is that they've just looked like these lesser opponents, UTSA and now Utah State, sorry MBG, are just playing with them a little bit early. And that just
forgettable, don't they? Like forgettable,
yeah.
like just kind of
really
like
question what's going to happen when they get into their SEC slate.
8-4.
Yeah, well, we thought that already. All right, your Georgia Bulldogs have a whopping 28-6 victory
on to Tennessee.
Over Austin Peay.
Doesn't matter. Just move on. Lightning.
Consistency for Georgia here. 1 touchdown per quarter. I think there was a max. Did somebody tell them they couldn't score more than once in a quarter? Is that what it was?
They moved the game. They moved the game up and still had like a 2-hour rain delay. Whatever.
Anything out of Nate Frazier or Colby Young worth looking at here, leading the team in rushing and receiving. One of those guys, you're going to have some playmakers in that way moving forward. So I'm just interested to see who stands up. Okay, let's talk about
Zachariah Branch. There's your name.
I completely agree with you.
Yep.
You want to talk about a real game? Border War. Shout out to Joy. Shout out to Maggie. So here's an I was wrong moment. Joy took Missouri, and she was correct. They pull out the win 42-31 over Rock Chalk Jayhawk KU.
And I
picked Kansas just to be a contrarian, okay? But Pribula goes for 334 and 3 touchdowns. This game was weird because obviously Kansas goes up early. It's 21-6. Missouri makes a comeback and ties it at halftime, and then you kind of get like a sleepy third quarter almost.
Yep.
And then Missouri was able to get a couple scores there in the fourth quarter to really separate it. So, if anything, I think that we learned a little bit about Mizzou here. But the thing that sticks out to me,
sure Kansas is good.
I don't necessarily think that they're good. But here's what I know about Missouri is that they tend to pull out these kind of weird, close, battle type games with certain opponents. And so this is a momentum game for them, even if Kansas doesn't end up being good. It's been over 5,000 days since this border war has been played. They absolutely hate each other. And so I think Drink, before he moves to Gainesville, gets some momentum going and uses this game to his advantage.
Okay. Well, great. Can we talk about Arkansas and Ole Miss together? So both of them won this weekend.
Okay.
Ole Miss
Yes.
with their food against Kentucky. Arkansas smashed Arkansas State in Little Rock. This is going to be one of your more interesting week 3 games. Those of you that don't know, shout out to my good friends IA and Alex McDaniel.
Yep.
These two get together, especially in Oxford. Weird things happen. Arkansas's offense actually looks like it's clicking a little bit. Ole Miss, it's good, but like I don't know. Kentucky is not great, and that game looked that was tedious. I was at my nephew's birthday party most of the day yesterday watching it. Ole Miss does not look like it is firing on all cylinders. So I am saying circle that game next week. That one is going to be weird. And we're going to call the Hogs because we did, when we were talking a few weeks ago, we said Sam was going to go bite somebody. I'm calling it right here to say that I could be wrong next week. Arkansas knocks off Ole Miss in Oxford.
There's a chance. There's a good chance. One thing I will say about the Kentucky Ole Miss game, I'll give J.C. Sherbert credit for this on Inside the Gamecocks. They did a preview show for South Carolina on Friday, and I believe that's when I heard him say this. But, you know, Mark Stoops always kind of comes out hot. You have this like sleepy Mac game, but in the SEC comes out hot, and then it's going to tail off probably before the end of the year. And so this kind of really just falls exactly into the MO. And so as much as I thought, and here's an I was wrong statement for me saying that Austin Simmons was going to have this big game and throw 3 touchdowns and run for one. He did ran for one, and they called him down at the half-yard line after review. And so then I believe it was Kwan Lacey who punched that in for Ole Miss. But Simmons did not throw a touchdown, threw a couple of picks, actually. But Calzada on the other side, 149 yards and nothing. So we know what Kentucky's
So we
going
met
to do.
expectations as a Kentucky quarterback.
Exactly. We know what they're going to do. They're going to run it. They're going to slow it down, so on and so forth. Interesting game next week for sure. I'll quickly note Tennessee over ETSU, 72-17. Does it tell us anything?
No.
I don't think so, other than, like you said with Georgia last week, you did what you're supposed to do against a lesser opponent.
Yep.
Kind of the same thing for Auburn and Ball State, 42-3.
Yep.
LSU and Louisiana Tech, 23-7.
So an important one out of that one.
Sleepy.
A little sleepy, but LSU lost their center and guard, I believe. So they've got 2 linemen that are going to be out when Florida comes to town next week. Won't matter. LSU's still going to win. So I don't think that's a big deal. But I do have to ask you one quick question. I know we're on the Gamecocks Network. Next week, national championship quarterback Diego Pavia is coming to Columbia. How are we feeling, Rob?
Okay, before I answer this question, let me sneak this in here because I want to get past it before we get to a couple of these games. Alabama 73-0 over ULM. I was not wrong. I said they needed to show us.
You said they were going to score 37 points. You were wrong.
I said if they score 37 points.
37 points is
I said
less than 73.
If they score 37 points and it's 37-20, whatever I said, we will feel worse about them. But they can make us feel the same if they come out and they take care of business. 73-0. He's definitely taking care of business. Ty Simpson did not have an incompletion in the game. 17 for 17, 226, and 3 touchdowns. And so maybe some momentum for Kalen DeBoer, and we'll see.
No.
All right, to South Carolina. South Carolina looked really sleepy against a South Carolina State team last night. 21 points came from not on offense. You had a fumble recovery, scoop and score, and then Vakari Swain does it not once but twice on a punt return. Just an incredible awareness on his part, I think. Now the first one is a great return, but the second one was partially blocked. And he comes up and just plucks it at the last second. You know, I think that Shane Beamer said in the press conference after the game that they teach them if one of their players touches the ball that you can come up and grab it because it's illegal touching and it's not going to be a fumble anyway. And so Beamer made the point, like, we need to coach that a little better because this was partially blocked. It was not their player who touched it. He had a lack of awareness there. But I think one of the things that Vakari also saw was when he approached this ball that was obviously short off the punter's foot, it was to the far left side of the field from where he was standing. And the entire, I don't know, at least 2/3, if not 75% of the right side of the field had nobody on it, and he was in plus territory when he grabbed the ball, and so he just trusted his speed, grabbed it last minute, and just housed it, which was incredible to watch. 2 punt returns. That's now 3 in 2 weeks for
And that's
Vakari
also
Swain.
you continuing to avoid answering my question.
No, I'm
How
getting
are
there.
we feeling about next week? Come
I'm
on,
getting there.
buddy. You're
So
nervous.
let's
He's
go
nervous,
back
folks.
let's go over to Virginia Tech. This is a really cool, I think, round robin experiment because South Carolina plays Virginia Tech last week, Virginia Tech and Vanderbilt this week, South Carolina and Vanderbilt next week. So Virginia Tech goes up 22 to 10 early over Vanderbilt, and the final score is 44-20 Commodores. Diego Pavia is relentless. He does not stop. He has, to make a South Carolina reference, Steven Garcia energy. Okay. He is not going to quit no matter what you do, and he believes, and that bleeds onto this Commodores team. South Carolina has the longest winning streak in the SEC against Vanderbilt, and yes, that makes me extremely nervous to have a late night kick against Diego Pavia-driven Vanderbilt Commodores.
His brothers will probably be in town, so you got to watch the cops. Who knows?
Long streak on the line. And a South Carolina team who has not really gotten clicking on offense over the course of the season. Couple of big plays on offense have been some scores there. I think it's going to be tight, to be honest. South Carolina opened today as a 6-point favorite. I think that the Gamecocks do pull this out, but it is a 1-score game. I think that being in Williams-Bryson as the SEC opener is going to bring a lot of energy. But I heard a lot of groaning and, quite frankly, some lack of ball knowledge in the stadium yesterday that was really frustrating for me to listen to. And I think the South Carolina fans just need to take a breath a little bit and allow this thing to develop and trust one of the most 3 superior athletes in the country in Lenore Sellers, Nick Harbor, and then Dylan Stewart on the other side of the ball. I don't think it's sustainable to rely on big plays for the entirety of the season, but they're only going to get better week after week. And Lenore's made that comment in his post-game presser as well. Hey, we're getting some different looks from defenses. We're knocking some kinks out. Just be patient with us as this offense comes along. Obviously, a new coordinator with Mike Shula is familiar with the personnel, but this is a new play caller. And so I'm not making excuses in one way or the other, because it has looked at times like there's been a little bit of
excuses. There's some excuses being made.
No.
I do have one question. Does
Yes,
the winner of this game win like a Netflix trophy, or whatever, any given Saturday? Like, are they getting some sort of like Netflix thing for the winner, or like what's going to happen here?
Yeah, I don't. I'm not really sure that that's what they're doing. Casey has been blowing up the chat, so I just went ahead and threw him in here before we get started.
Vandy's knocking off South Carolina next week.
That's it, huh? That's your pick. That's your big pick for next week.
I do also think I said Arkansas was going to go to Ole Miss.
Oh, true. Wow, what bold statements from you tonight, Craig.
And Georgia's going to beat Tennessee. There you go. We're going to have 3 SEC road wins. I'm sure I'm a total idiot.
Did we miss? I'm just scrolling through one more time to make sure we didn't miss anybody in the SEC other than the Gators. And we're going to
What happened to the Gators?
We're going to look at that one here.
Are they okay?
All right, so we said trap game.
Yep.
And I said to Joy, I think that the words trap game have been used so many times, surely they're not going to fall in the trap. I think the Gators come out and win big. Florida is going to get it done. Billy Napier, DJ Lagway, the whole shebang.
You're waiting for Billy Napier to be South Carolina's new offensive coordinator next year.
I was wrong, because they absolutely fell in the trap. And so with that, welcome Casey Cregan to the show from the Message Board Genius podcast. It's time for It Just Means More. Genius. We're going to talk.
What's up, fellas?
We're going to talk a little bit about what's going on the boards.
Spicy tonight, Casey.
And while you guys chop it up for just a moment, I'm going to go ahead and grab this last UGA board that Casey sent us just a minute ago.
That's a nice hat, Rob.
You guys talk about it. Well, you thank Joy for that.
Yeah, I'm going to need one of those, I think, at some point.
They don't make she doesn't make them in that ugly orange. So you'll have to settle for a different.
Tennessee's close.
Yeah, Tennessee's close. ACC pretty? What would it be? ACC mid? What would it be? What would the hat say for the ACC?
Oh yeah, ACC mid would be great. What about an shout out to our friend Phil Mullinax, the Mad Dog, who produces on many shows on the Chief Sports Network, for coining it the All Coast Conference after the addition of Cal and Stanford. So maybe she can make one that says that All Coast Conference.
There we go. I mean,
Just do them in different colors.
The possibilities are truly endless, fellas. We could do like Big 12, Big 10, 16. I mean, how many letters can you get on a hat?
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. I'm not really
two
sure
on my hat here,
TB, yep.
All right, so you want to talk about Florida here for just a moment?
I'm sure we're going to do a meltdown on our show this week, so I only grabbed one, but I thought this was a really good one.
Hang on. Did something happen in Florida?
What do you think happened? Can we go there first?
Yeah,
just the three of us. Can we
there.
have a real ball discussion before we put up anything from the message boards?
Sure.
What's going on? Their offense was just stagnant. They couldn't really seem to get it going. This is a low-scoring game. It's not like USF came out and just dominated them from a scoring standpoint. And we know what Golish was able to do when he was at Tennessee, and they racked up points. That has not been the way that it's happened in Tampa. When his USF teams have made statements, even a couple of years ago when they hung in with Alabama, that final score was 17-6. It's been more of a slugfest defensive struggle. Now, they came out last week and put up 34 on a Boise State team that was ranked in the preseason top 25. And a lot of people's thought to be the G5 representative. Is USF now the front runner to be the G5 representative for the college football playoff?
I mean, I think you have to week 2, right? Who else is there? I don't pay attention. So,
well, that's a great. I mean, the preseason favorite, I think, for everybody was Memphis.
Tulane.
Tulane is in there.
Tulane, those are good.
Obviously, Boise State was a leader in the clubhouse, but coming out with a week 1 loss to USF kind of puts you in the rear view. You're going to have to, the thing about USF is not only did they beat Boise and now they've beaten Florida, but next week they play Miami. So another opportunity for a statement win. Then they really have a leg up.
Will Carson Cavender do what it takes to lead the Canes?
Well, the thing is, because there's a guaranteed G5, like if they win that, and even if they drop one in conference, if they still win their league, they should still come out on top.
But
so
let's
I lived
be
in Tampa for 12 years, and in those from 2003, I guess, to 2015. Is that 12? That is 12.
That's 12.
And in that time, 2007 was that craziest college football year ever.
Yeah.
I think you were just born, Rob. But the USF at one point was ranked number 2 or number 3 in the country, and I was living in and around there. I went to games at Ray J that year. They lost to Rutgers, but of course, the Jersey in me was rooting for Rutgers. But that place is unbelievable. I tell you all that long-winded word salad to say Jim Leavitt was the head coach there. And what Jim Leavitt would do was he would take all those – there's national perennial powers. And, Craig,
Yep.
You had Orson Charles and the quarterback, why can't I think of his name? Aaron Murray, from exactly where I lived, went to Plant High School. Plant High School has produced kids over and over and over again. Now, USF didn't get Aaron Murray or Orson Charles, but if Jim Leavitt was still there was probably a really good chance that they stayed home, because what he did was he took all those kids, the Jefferson kids. Rob, you know who went to Jefferson? Your boy Steven Garcia.
Yep.
You keep these kids home. Could you imagine after Matt Grothe, you get a Steven Garcia or you get a Aaron Murray and an Orson Charles? Like, that's what Golish is doing now. He's taking those kids from right around that Tampa Bay area, which has a wealth of talent, and the kids that are shunning Florida and Florida State, and even now Miami didn't really do a great job back then of the Tampa area, because there was such a fence, that Mac Brown fence around Tampa for USF and then the other two. But Golish is now really embracing that, kind of going outside of it a little bit too, grabbing the Orlando kids, taking the also-rans, if you will, and he's finally reaping the benefits. Something Jeff Scott didn't do before him, something Willie Taggart didn't do before him, because Willie Taggart thought he could go out and get everybody, from Oregon. My timeline's probably off there. But anyway, that's my rant about USF. Their fans are awful, though. I just got to tell you. So if they get good, look out.
They're gonna get a new stadium as well. I think that's
On
going on
campus,
campus.
apparently.
Yeah, it's going to be an on-campus stadium. So I
It's one
think
of the
that
biggest
is.
schools in the country.
Yeah.
It's like the third largest
Is it a big
behind
commuter
Arizona
school?
State and UCF. Oh, big time.
Yeah, and I think that hurts, right? Like I think that plays
It's
into the
not
culture.
in
I
the
know
best
UCF.
area of Tampa. I mean, it's getting there. The campus is beautiful.
Yeah.
Um,
But hang
So-
on,
yeah,
I
you
just
have to
got
drive
I
20
just
lot
got
of
to
miles to
ask.
the stadium.
Say a lot of positive to say about USF, but let's flip it because this is an SEC show, right?
Yep.
What
Yeah.
about Gainesville?
They are who we thought they were.
I don't know that they are, Craig.
I've been saying this. No,
I think they're
listen,
worse
you-
than we thought they were.
Yeah, but you are the only one who has defended Billy Napier for almost a year now, and I have been consistently telling you that it's not going to work. He's not it. And we have these pipe dreams of what happened against LSU and Ole Miss when they were total dumpster fires and they're going to hang their banner on a crappy Florida State team. He hasn't beaten anybody. He's
Okay,
20
so
and 20 overall.
Here's my concern for Florida in general, and this is where we can cue up Casey, because if you thought it was a meltdown yesterday, let's look at the next 5 weeks, in the middle of which they have a bye. So they got 4 games coming up. Does anybody know what these 4 games are? We obviously know they have LSU next week. Okay.
LSU, Miami,
Miami.
Texas, bye week, Texas A&M. Did I miss
Yes,
anybody?
that is correct. That is correct.
And I didn't even have my phone out. Look at that.
Yeah. So what are the chances that they're looking at 1-5?
Not great, Bob.
Is that realistic? Like, I don't even want to think about the meltdown that happens if they're 1-5.
It's good for business for us, though. I'll be
Yeah.
honest.
Oh my goodness. Holy cow. All right. So on that note, are you going with the asking for a coach one? Is that the one I'm throwing up, or am I throwing up the wife one? I actually have both.
The asking for a coach one is.
All right,
the
let's
one
go with
I'm
that one
doing.
first.
So yeah, our friends MBG just put this one up earlier today, and our friend Recco321 said I'd take Kalen DeBoer at this point, and I like this one, Rob, because it kind of does. It kind of grabs both the schools. I don't know if you guys saw the video of the woman that asking if she won the Powerball or Mega Millions or whatever, one of the lotteries, saying that she would take $70 million and pay out.
Just hand it to him.
Just give him the $70 million to leave Alabama. So I thought that was really funny. But even Florida fans are trying hard to punch down, if that's even a thing, to Kalen DeBoer at this point.
Do we agree with this statement?
Yes.
If you're a Florida fan, would you take Kalen DeBoer over Billy right now?
Sure.
Oh my God, yeah.
I take
Okay.
anybody over Billy at this point. Real quick, did you
Is the narrative that Kalen DeBoer isn't a good coach? Is that the current narrative?
That can't be the narrative for anybody who's level-headed. If you look at his resume,
That's okay.
We're
and we
talking
have
the
to
SEC, Rob.
understand
No one is level-headed.
everybody. There's no coach that you bring in to follow Nick Saban who is gonna end well. It's just not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. Now
They always say
things
that,
have not
right, Rob?
broken.
They say
Things have
don't
not
be the
broken
next
well.
guy.
You cannot be the guy that follows the guy. You got to be the guy that follows the guy that follows the guy.
That follows the guy. Yeah.
This was doomed from the start. It didn't matter who they brought in. All right, I got one more.
It just
Hang
didn't
on,
help.
hang
that
on.
the effort
One
wasn't
second.
good.
One second. Did you
Yeah.
see the USF coaches celebrating? And
Yeah.
like
How great was that?
going from the coaches' offices, and they're like running around to the elevator to get down to the main field. They're like right in front of the Florida coaches. Apparently, one of the top like Florida prospects, one of the UCF coaches texted, or USF, I said UCF. One of the USF coaches apparently texted him and said, "Hey, what'd you think of the game? You want to flip your commit?"
Why not?
I mean, shoot your shot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there
Might
you
as
go,
well.
Casey.
Yeah.
All right, here's one.
And then we got our friend Gators2415 saying, "My wife got deported 2 months ago, and I am more upset with Billy than Ice." This one, yeah.
Is this the level of fandom in the SEC?
Yes.
I mean, this is the top
I think that's real.
or the bottom.
I think that's real. Do we have any questions if that's real? I don't think he's trolling.
I did not check was there upvotes on that thing?
Might have been a
This was captured. MBG was on it.
He was on it. Yeah.
This is if you look under the username there, this
14
was
seconds.
This was taken 14 seconds after posting.
It's almost like
So we're
maybe it
not
was
sure.
MPG
We have to
that
go
put that
look.
up.
It's Small 24/7.
Yeah.
All
Might
right.
have been MPG.
You want to do one more?
Yeah, well,
one's-
this one was just
Let's
funny
just
to me.
let's just turn the tide away from.
Oh, we're
away
gonna go to
from Florida.
Alabama.
We're not,
So
You
I
said
guess,
tied.
Mr. Barking Man. We're gonna
I
come
guess-
for you.
Tied.
I guess Georgia has in Craig's words, played with their food a little bit over the first 2 weeks. So the
Brutal
Zester
watching.
House, I guess, is this person kind of went to the extreme here in the SEC. He said Kirby has no one to be upset at but himself, made no changes from last year, but expecting better results. Correct, Rick 2.0. That was my favorite part. And he got a bunch of upvotes here. And my question to Craig is, aren't they 2-0?
They're 2-0, and he dominated in the portal. Like, he got probably two of the best receivers available outside of Singleton from Auburn. I don't really know like what Georgia fans want, but I'm also going to rip on Kirby a little bit. Kirby was complaining about, oh, the fans are leaving. Well, stop playing crappy teams and stop playing FCS teams and other teams that no one wants to watch, and the people will stay. Go play Clemson.
Was there a delay yesterday too in Athens or no?
There was some lightning. There was some lightning.
There was a move up actually.
Yeah.
They moved up.
So this is the question.
Supposed to be at 3:30. They moved it to 2:30.
Yeah, they moved the game up like an hour, 4 hours before the game. Do you want to? Do you want to tell me that?
That bothered me a little bit. You know what we're doing 4 hours before the game?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
we're well into the
hard.
process. 4 hours before the game.
I've been to Athens.
Right, but
It's a good time.
can you tell me that game didn't matter more than saying that I'm going to move the game up because of weather for an hour? Like, they're not doing that for Florida. They're not doing that for Tennessee. So why don't you? So stop complaining. I'm sorry, Kirby. Stop complaining about people not going and actually schedule somebody. I'm not sensitive at all to it. I'm not irritated at all. You didn't get my blood up, Casey.
I mean, I put that one in there last minute, threw it at Rob at the very last minute just to see your reaction, quite honestly.
Well, did I pass?
Yeah, you got
He
a
was-
67.
He's been livid about this.
Nice.
He's been livid about this schedule for a long time.
I know. Then we got to go to like play somebody with a Navy now next week, and they call themselves Rocky Top, but then they have oranges. Like, what the
Here's
hell
what
are
I'm
you
gonna
doing,
say.
Tennessee?
Here's what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
You have these bold predictions about Arkansas over Ole Miss and Vanderbilt over South Carolina. I'm not
Yeah.
going to be so bold to.
Did you
pick
see
on
UConn? Did you
Top.
see UConn putting it on Syracuse last week?
I did.
Syracuse won late. Wow, Tennessee must be fantastic. Oh, let's look out. The almighty UConn was taking care of Syracuse.
I can't wait to clip this. I'm going to clip it. I'm going to clip it and replay it. If Tennessee
Mike
wins,
Lovell, where you
I
at?
will,
I'm coming for you.
I will clip this. And we will lead the show with that clip right there. All right, so there you have it. Craig picks Arkansas over Ole Miss, Vanderbilt over South Carolina, and I'm just going to tell those dogs they better watch out for what's happening with Rocky Top next week. Joey Aguilar might be the dog killer. We'll see what happens. Casey, I appreciate you being here as always. You brought us very, very valuable USF information and also the laughs that we need. After
you said we were going to step out
of
the SEC tonight, Rob, but I didn't expect it to go to the old Big East.
Well, my plan was to step out and talk about how not only did South Carolina struggle with a lesser.
Oh, we're out of time.
We're out of time. Thanks, everybody.
So that other school in the upstate of South Carolina. All right. This has been SEC Sunday Night live on the Chief Sports Network. We're brought to you proudly by Hewitt Domaduras Law, HD Law, SC.com. Thanks again to Dailey Joy. Thanks to Chad and Tierney from the Sooner Smiths, Voice on College Football. Thank you always to Casey Cregan from the Message Board Genius podcast. Shout out to MVG. And also thank you to my wonderful friend and co-host, Craig McMichael. I am Rob Williams, and we will see you next.
Ooh, pig.